Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you have a new Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory video. And today, folks, I'm going to be taking a deep dive into a piece of equipment because I'm going to be talking about the Blood Angels Predator Ball. Now, what I'm going to mostly focus on, I'm going to focus a little bit on the history and the development of the vehicle, which there's not much in the way of development, but I do want to discuss a bit about the history. I'm going to discuss the armaments, the upgrades, and why I think this vehicle would be great for the Absolvers chapter within Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory. However, before I get into it, folks, I'm asking you to please support my YouTube channel. You can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing the video around, as well as for anyone who would like to provide additional support and also get updates on content that is coming soon to the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. I do have a Patreon page, and you can check out the link below in the video description. So now let's get on into it. So the Predator Ball. Well, it's a tank used primarily and actually only by the Blood Ravens. Well, not only by the Blood Ravens, but essentially it's only by the Blood Ravens and its successor chapters. It's actually been an STC that's actually been in service with the Blood Angels since the Great Crusade. We're talking around the 30th millennium, and essentially the Emperor himself actually walked among man. So we're even talking before the Horus Heresy, folks. And of course, the Predator Ball itself is actually named after the Blood Angels' homeworld, which is Ball. Now, with all that being said, the Adeptus Mechanicus, well, they're not huge fans about this tank because actually the Blood Angels actually never gave the Adeptus Mechanicus a copy of the STC. And the Blood Angels actually keeps the STC as a very closely guarded secret, as well as all the successor chapters that actually has the STC available to them. So basically, in the eyes of the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Predator Ball is actually considered a blasphemy against the machine spirit. Go figure. The vehicle works, it does what it needs to do, but yeah, because we don't have a copy of it, we don't like it. So with that being said, because no STC was ever passed to the Adeptus Mechanicus or even any other Space Marine chapter, there actually is no other chapters outside of the Blood Angels and its successor chapters that uses the Predator Ball. Like I said, it's a very closely guarded secret, at least when it comes to the STC. Now, when it comes to the STC itself, is actually based off the Predator Destructor. Keep in mind that the Predator Annihilator and the Predator Destructor are actually two different STCs, although they're very similar. Basically, the tanks themselves are similar, but what happens is the internal layout of the vehicle changes because essentially you got one that's basically purely an ammo tank, and you got the other one that basically uses its internal space for generators and things of that nature, and additional wiring, power cables for the laser cannons and all that stuff. Now I want to get into the armaments for the Predator Ball because I do believe you could actually easily implement this vehicle into your Wrath and Glory game, which I'll get more in depth here later. But let's start off with its main armament. It's got two different types of main armaments. The first one being twin-linked assault guns or assault cannons, which is pretty much the standard layout for the Predator Ball. However, some of them also has a flamestorm cannon. Basically, it's just a giant tank flamer, as you can see here. Now, the side sponsons itself, it can either be heavy flamers, it could be heavy bolters, or it could be multi-meltas. It's basically based on what kind of role you want the vehicle to fill out, is what kind of side sponsons you want. Now, when it comes to upgrades for the Predator Ball itself, you're pretty much going to look at any kind of upgrade that any standard Predator would have. So basically, pintle-mounted Storm Bolter, smoke grenade launcher, searchlight, extra armor, dozer blade, hunter killer missile, basically the standard stuff. Now, with all that being said, I feel the vehicle's role kind of fits two different roles here. Now, the primary one I would argue for is actually urban combat. And that's mostly because of its firestorm cannon and also being able to take heavy flamers. However, with that being said, even multi-meltas would be great in urban combat, as a multi-meltas could essentially turn a fortified building into nothing but a basically pile of molten rockcrete. Now, with that being said, you could also use the assault cannon, the twin assault cannons, and it would provide fire support for any nearby infantry. It could be used to provide suppressive fire, things of that nature. But with that being said, I think the Predator Ball's greatest weakness, with the layout that it is, even though it can function as an anti-tank vehicle, I don't feel it's really truly meant to be an anti-tank vehicle as much as it is to be an urban combat vehicle, considering how short-ranged most of the firepower is. Because outside of the hunter killer missile, the longest ranged weapons are actually the heavy bolters. Not even the assault cannons has a better range than the heavy bolters. Now, with that being said, I also easily see this vehicle as an anti-horde vehicle. You get an open field and three of these bad boys together, and you got a wave of Tyranids coming at you, or you got a wave of orcs coming at you. The assault cannons is just going to chew through the hordes. You have something set up where you got twin linked assault cannons and you got the heavy flamers as the side sponsons. You use the twin linked assault cannons to essentially mow down any infantry in front of you, and if they get too close, that's where the heavy flamers come into play, and they will just barbecue just about anything out there. And those are, personally, in my opinion, the two roles that the Predator Ball actually fills as a vehicle. Now, with that being said, because the Absolvers is actually a Blood Angels successor chapter, I can definitely foresee a great argument for the Predator Ball to be used by the Absolvers within Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory. That's if you're going to use the Absolvers as the chapter of choice if you're doing a Space Marine based campaign, or even if they're providing support maybe for your Imperial Guardsmen or whatever you're doing for your campaign. So with that being said, yeah, I would argue that this vehicle would actually fit very well within the Absolvers. With that being said, if you go to the wiki page on the Predator Ball, the Absolvers is not on the list, and I suspect primarily what that has to do with is, well, the Absolvers is actually a relatively new chapter that was made for Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory. And I think probably more than likely they just were never included in the list, or no one has decided to include them on the list yet because they haven't been officially put into an actual codex yet for the Blood Angels. Now, with that being said, when you're going through the stats, yeah, it's pretty much a Predator Destructor with completely different weapons, and the weapons such as the Flamestorm cannon and the assault cannons are there for use. So basically, you're just going to change the weapon layout. That's realistically all I would do, is change the primary weapon layout and change the sponsons to fit whatever role that it's supposed to fit. But generally speaking, that's realistically all I do when it comes to using the Church of Steel guide for Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory and trying to shoehorn in the Predator Ball for my players to use. Anyway, folks, I am going to wrap up today's video at that. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.